Before we get started with today's show, I want to note that during this time of social isolation with no games to watch, it's not just the right time that's churning out content for you. ESPN Podcast is adapting to this new normal, and just this week, there have been new episodes of ESPN Daily, The Woj Pod, The Hoop Collective, Ariel Helwani's MMA Show, The Mina Kimes Show, and Baseball Tonight. You can listen to all of these and more wherever you get your podcasts. While you can't believe everything on social media these days, you can believe it's possible to start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Instead of waiting to see what happens when life gets back to normal, take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Helping people start an IT career is what we do. Many of our graduates could do little more than turn their computer on and off before they started. Live online classes meet just twice a week to get what you'll need to start your new career. More than just a school, My Computer Career helps you get into the industry by working with hundreds of employers that hire our students. My Computer Career is nationally accredited. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Online classes start soon, so go take the free career evaluation today at mycomputercareer.edu. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You then give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Coming up on this episode of The Right Time, talk about what's going on with the NBA in this era of the Rona. We will also talk about what's going on with Tom Brady and your stories about some of the worst haircuts you've ever had. But first, all right, we got the official word right before we turned on everything to get this here cracking. The Olympics will not be happening in 2020. The Olympics are postponed until 2021. I got to say, I'm curious to see how it all comes together when it comes to 2021. I imagine that we'll be able to go outside of our houses again. But the Olympics seem to be like a whole lot of complex for them to just be like, we just going to do it next year. Like, Abe, I feel like there's somebody that is scheduled there, whatever conference in Tokyo for August of 2021, and they are salty.
The unforeseen part about this is the calendar situation, what people have going on next year. But then also, too, like all the advertising money that goes into it for not just networks here in the United States, but networks around the globe. Like I read something that NBC has sold more than 1.25 billion worth in national advertising inventory for this year's Olympics. And if the outbreak had led to the game's cancellation, which is now the case, much of that ad money is not going to be reallocated to other channels.
Yeah, like they had to figure all this out too, because the contracts are set up in such a way with the Olympics where canceling would have just caused everything to be just a full-on disaster for them. So everybody was trying to stress this out as long as they possibly could because of the contracts on the ads and everything else. You said 1.25 billion in ad revenue for NBC.
1.25 billion.
And understand, they don't really get much of a profit off of the Olympics, at least not a profit that you can add and subtract in that way. The big thing for NBC for the Olympics is it allows them to roll out the fall slate for everybody. Man, you'd be ready to watch all kind of stuff you was never going to be ready to watch just because the damn thing keeps rolling over and over again. Like all these events that are being canceled, as I've said before, I'm not like, on one level, I was like, we're going to find out how greedy all these people are. But to be fair to them, once you cancel it, you can't uncancel it. Once you postpone it, you can't unpostpone it. And a lot of money coming in, a lot of this money is supposed to go to other people. Like it does, like, you know, doesn't go all the way down to every human being, but we're all kind of connected in this. And so I got why a lot of these people were just kind of on the kick of, hey, man, no, we're not going to say we're not doing this until we can't do this no more. Mark Cuban talk about the NBA, talk about he's hoping that they'll be out there in the middle of May in that June, you know, and maybe go to June 1, and that he's optimistic about that. And I'm like, I guess that's just the story you got to tell, because you can't say we ain't going to play on June 1 and then all of a sudden come back, right? Like this is the game that everybody is going out here for. So I get where these folks are coming from, man. man, I feel bad for these people that have put everything into trying to make the damn Olympics, right? Like the whole idea of I'm just trying to go to the Olympics. There's levels of fame for people who are in the Olympics. So like the cats that run track, they pros, like they've dreamed of going to the Olympics. They've been working to go to the Olympics, but in the end, they got some other track meets that are big deals that they can go out here and do, right? There's some events like that, like basketball, for example. It's completely different. We don't really view that as an Olympic sort of thing, so forth and so on. But man, a whole lot of these cats get out here and do these Olympic events that don't really make anybody any money. Like you just really have geared up because this is something that you wanted to do. Like, if your bag is like archery, like I imagine that there's a national archery circuit, but ain't nobody getting rich off of archery. I don't think. Maybe they are. I'll do some Googling after the show, but I don't believe that's what's going on here. Like this is about chasing a dream. And that dream has now been postponed until 2021. Gabe, you imagine how frustrated you would be?
Yeah, I mean, the Olympic athletes train in such a way that they're at the absolute peak of their powers in that year, in that Olympic year. I can't even fathom getting to the precipice and then being told like, yeah, keep it going. One more year.
Yeah, right. You on the roll, baby. You got to keep it up. Keep it up.
You see that donut in the shop window?
Ain't no time for quitting. Hey, let me tell you this too, man. This quarantine gonna come out, and we gonna see a whole lot of our Olympic athletes coming out there like, yeah, dog, I really wasn't prepared to do no Olympic stuff. Like, they can't, beyond whether or not it was gonna be safe for people just to come and attend the Olympics, what kind of shape are we talking about people being in when it's time to go there, right? Like a whole bunch of the levels of working out that you need to do to get that. I'd imagine that people just can't do anymore, or you hope that they're not doing it anymore in the name of being responsible. Like, have you seen these stories about these cats in the NBA just trying to figure out like how they're supposed to stay in shape just in case the NBA comes back around? Like, there's no way to get in shape for playing in the NBA other than playing like high intensity basketball. You can't play high intensity basketball right now because you can't be around other people. If you want to get a damn Peloton, you can't even order them right now because everybody had that same bright idea.
I was just going to say to you, you don't have a Peloton, do you?
I do not. I'm not that kind of guy.
Because I just saw a story the other day that like this English soccer club bought all their players Pelotons. Mm-hmm. And since I don't know much about the Peloton platform, I was wondering if like, you're taking a Peloton class and you can see by usernames who are the other people in the Peloton class. Can you imagine being in a Peloton class, like, pedaling, I'm going up Mount Kilimanjaro and you got AD on.
Right. Like, or just like random NBA player, right? Like you're out here. The next thing you know, TJ Warren has passed you on the hill.
Still in the league.
Yep. Still in the league. You're like, yo, what are we doing? Like, how is this happening? How is this going on? Like, nah, what I did order though, because I was like, okay, maybe I could use this as an opportunity in some way to get in shape. But they shut down the gym in my building. Dog, I ordered a smart jump rope. Are you familiar with the smart jump rope?
I'm not. I was waiting for you to explain because I'm sure just like I have no idea what that is. Nobody else does.
Okay. So it is a jump rope, right? They like just a rope, like jump rope. That seems like a simple way to get some like physical fitness in. You know what I'm saying? I got a little space where I can go jump rope, for a few minutes, get it going. Right. You feel me? Okay. And so what happens is the jump rope connects to an app that you could put on your phone and it'll track like your workout data. Yeah.
Now, one thing I've thought of, because I do have a jump rope that I haven't used yet in this time, is that I kind of feel for my neighbors underneath me.
Yes.
If like they're just, doing something and all of a sudden it's just whap, 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 whap on the floor.
Yeah. I had considered that. I feel like I was about to say I've never heard anybody like banging their feet on top of me, but I live on the top floor. Got a little outside space though, right? So maybe I can get out there and, get my jump rope on, or I just do it in the house and wait for the email to come on the building link. Building link has been very interesting in these times. Have you noticed some of the content that people are putting out on the building link?
Hey, I'm trying to get rid of this couch quick.
Yeah. It's that kind of stuff. But now it's just a whole lot of like hang in there, right? Like everybody's trying to make themselves feel better in the midst of everything that is going on here. My favorite thing ever to happen on the building link, though, is this one woman sent an email and she's like, yo, I'm in apartment. I don't remember the exact apartment, but she's like, I'm in apartment 5A and somebody has been smoking in their unit and it's coming through the vents and it's really making life hard on my children. And so I would appreciate if people would like stop doing that. You know, like she's like, yo, the cigarette smoke, it continues. My 3-year-old, you know, she used real dramatic terms, but understandable because, you know, actually it was a dude who said that. He's like, yo, my 3-year-old is being poisoned, you know, all of this. And my man's like, yo, I wanted to stop, right? And like totally understand. And so somebody else came on with this like bullet pointed email. It was like, no one should be enforced to inhale smoke in their home if they don't choose to. Those who choose to smoke in their home, well, that's their right also. And he gives the whole thing about the philosophy behind it. And then he gets to the end and he lists his name and he says his name is John in 7B.
That's his sign off, John in 7B.
Yes, but what he's saying is, I don't remember what floor I made up on the other one, but what he's, it's the next door, it's the dude next door. The dude next door is like, yeah, you know, on principle, you should be able to do what you want to do, but I understand where you're coming from. Maybe we could come to a solution without actually copping to the fact that he's the dude smoking in his building.
What's interesting too, in this time, we were just talking about athletes getting on Peloton and stuff at their houses. The athletes are home.
Yes.
They're holed up. So like you may have not known that you lived next to an athlete, you know, if you're living in one of these like high end buildings, just because they were never around. They're always like traveling or whatnot. Someone could be making a lot of noise next door or not be. And then you go to knock on that door and be like, yo, can you keep it down? And it's like Patrick Beverly.
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's a bunch of athletes at their cribs being like, so, son, how you been doing in your classes, right? The same thing the rest of us do when we run out of things to talk about with children because they've never spent that much time around here. But the money, like the fact that the Olympics are stopping, like I'm feeling like this again should be a sign to people of how serious this is. I am amazed at how many people are like really not getting that this is a real deal thing. Like this should not be anything political, right? There should be nothing I have to say about this that's a political observation, right? So if the politics, like I got some pretty basic ideas about this and you can make some correlations between the political views of people who say certain things. However, I'm just telling you, man, the cats that got like DR by their name, the cats that operate in this science thing are like, yo, stay at home. I'm looking up and people starting to get on to, hey, time to go back to work. We got to get this money cracking. That don't make me feel good. But when Dick Pound came out, I guess it's almost a month ago now, and was like, nah, man, I don't really think it's going to be no Olympics. That was when I stood up and took notice, right? That's when I said, no, wait a minute. If they talk about slowing down all that money and slowing down all those plans, then this thing is realer than we giving it credit for being, right? That was my immediate thought. I am hoping that now that they are saying, like, actually, we are postponing the Olympics. That's got to be the thing to make people realize that this is what's going on. Because I'm here to tell you, man, this kind of money is not about stopping. That's not it. And that's money that's interconnected to all over the world. Gabe, you know all the shady business that goes on with the Olympics. Can you imagine, hypothetically speaking, if you gave some people some money under the table only to have your little event get canceled? I'll tell you another part of this fun, too, I want to see is when these advertisers, like when they work out the deal, whatever they've already paid or whatever on the Olympics, with NBC, it's kind of like, all right, so don't worry. You'll still get your ads. It's going to be a little later. Folks are like, yo, can we get that back? I don't know about that, guys. Well, you know, can I get that back? We'll pay you back when it come around. Space stick to the table. That's what we got. Nope. No money coming back for you. So everybody just gonna be crossing their fingers, holding on, seeing what's happening. But nope, the Olympics not gonna happen. Let me ask you this, Gabe: are you gonna miss them?
I would say I generally enjoy the Summer Olympics more than the Winter Olympics. Watching like swimming or watching track and field and then there's always basketball too. So it seems like for me and my like own personal interest, there's more watchable sports in the summer games than there are in the winter games.
Yeah. I don't really do the Whiter Olympics. A lot of events in the Whiter Olympics that I like really, really enjoy. Like you think about it, man, they created a whole damn Olympics just because there ain't nothing that people in the cold weather places do good. Like that's about it. Like Norway, like we want to participate in the Olympics too. Like the Whiter Olympics are full of all kinds of sports that you can only participate in a small handful of countries. The Summer Olympics are full of sports that you can do by and large, no matter where you live, right? That's it. It is only the Winter Olympics that's really out here geographically carting themselves off from everybody. Now, you'll get some folks in South America every now and then that's participating in the Winter Olympics. Gabe, you ever seen that Zimbabwe will send people to the Winter Olympics?
Talking about the Jamaican bobsled team now.
Yeah. Well, no. We're talking about something different. That's where it's interesting. I see why you would think that. Jamaican bobsled team was actually black people. The Zimbabwe Olympic team, like I said, I call them the Whiter Olympics. If you want to see why I call them the Whiter Olympics, go see the Zimbabwe team. That's the Cecil Rhodes cats and ladies are showing up from down there. Cause think about it, man. There's all these countries that don't like have people to participate in these events. So you just go set yourself up some citizenship or something like that in one of these other places and boom, now you can go to the Olympics. Like, you know how cats try to go find these other countries to go play basketball for to say they went to the Olympics?
Like the Philippines?
Yes.
Who's the guy who plays for the Utah Jazz? He used to play for the Lakers.
Are you talking about Clarkson? But at least he's actually Filipino.
Yeah. But then also, too, like Andre Blatch.
Yes.
He's not Filipino.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. That's the kind of guy we talking about is right there. They do that same way with the Winter Olympics. Now, with the Summer Olympics, like I got certain events that I'm into, but I don't think I'm going to miss it. Like if it was on, I would watch it, but I don't miss it. So I feel about so many of these things that are going on right now. Maybe my mind is just like caught up in all this other stuff, but I don't really miss these things. So you bring back the Olympics around in 2021, I'll watch them, but they're not going to be here in 2020. I mean, we'd like something to do, but I don't necessarily need it to be that. And we'll be back in a minute to talk about Tom Brady and the NFL, but first, what do companies like Ring, Hint, and Tecovas all have in common? They all use NetSuite to accelerate their growth. Successful companies know that in order to grow faster, you must have the right tools. If you want to take your company from 2 million to 10 million or 10 million to hundreds of millions in revenue, NetSuite by Oracle gives you the tools to turbocharge your growth. With NetSuite, you get a full picture of your business, finance, inventory, HR, customers, and more. It's everything you need to grow all in one place. Run your entire business from anywhere, even if you're working from home. With NetSuite, you're covered. NetSuite will give you the visibility and control you need to make the right decisions and grow with confidence. That's why NetSuite customers grow faster than the S&P 500. NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system, trusted by more than 20,000 companies. It's the last system you'll ever need. NetSuite. Business grows here. Schedule your free product tour right now and receive your free guide, 6 ways to run a more profitable business at netsuite.com/Bomani. That's netsuite.com/Bomani. netsuite.com/Bomani. At some point after we record this podcast, but probably before you hear it, Tom Brady is going to do a conference call introducing himself as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nothing sounds older than me than moving to Tampa. So now Tom Brady has made his way to Tampa. Seth Wickersham of ESPN wrote a very interesting story about all the things that shook out with Brady leaving New England. And I thought the story was very interesting. And I think that one variable that we get with Tom Brady and the Patriots that I think it's easy to forget, like you know it, but it's not really until you say it out loud that I think it really lands. Can you think of anybody else who has only played for one coach for 20 years? Like, that's the only coach that he's played for. 20 years. He has had the same boss for 20 years. 20 years. Can you imagine how tired you would be of your boss if you worked for him for 20 years. And by the way, you worked for him in a way that has like a clear divide in the hierarchy. Like you see these things happen in college, where you get like a defensive coordinator. It's usually the defensive coordinator, but you get you a defensive coordinator who worked with a head coach for a very long time. Like Mickey Andrews at Florida State working with Bobby Bowden for 20 years. You get those kinds of things, but these cats are like similar age, they can talk about, they got more time they spend together, everything else. Tom Brady been under Bill Belichick's thumb for 20 years. And the entirety of that time, Bill Belichick is making it clear to Tom Brady, you just like the rest of these cats. And being just like the rest of these cats, you know what that means? I will cut you too. Right? That's what it means. That's the life that he's been living now for 20 years. And he just got tired of it. That's all it was. He wants to play until he's 45. He wanted the Patriots to give him some assurance that they would keep him on the payroll to play until he was 45. And Bill Belichick is like, why would I do something stupid like that? Because that would be stupid, right? And so I get why Brady wanted to go somewhere else. I get why Belichick is like, cool, you can roll somewhere else. This, we gonna figure it out. We gonna be all right. I don't buy into the idea that Tom Brady was just simply betrayed by the lack of weapons or anything else. Here's what I want to know. What in the world do the Patriots have planned for a quarterback? Like what is the Bill Belichick game plan here on bringing a quarterback in? Because all of us believe that Belichick is some form of a magician, right? All of us do. We all think that he is a guy who can figure it out. Whatever it happens to be, we believe that Bill Belichick is a guy who can figure it out and he can scheme it up. He can come up with some things. He can see something in you, like all that stuff. That stuff all seems to be possible, but not when we're talking about a quarterback, right? Like even Brady was not necessarily a magic trick when it came down to finding a quarterback. A big part of what happened with Brady was they made that move from Drew Bledsoe. Brady was the starter. They had a not good defense, but great defense that could carry their quarterback as he figured out how to be an NFL starter. Like that's what they were able to do. Now, the Patriots had a great defense last year. I don't know how great the defense is going to be next year, but they did have a great defense last year. So is there some Tom Brady-like figure that Bill Belichick has in mind that he thinks he can put out there and just don't mess nothing up and then everything will be okay? Does he have some feeling about Jarrett Stidham that the rest of us are not really familiar with that makes him very comfortable with the idea that Jarrett Stidham could be the next quarterback? Or is Belichick out here waiting for the Rona to calm down so they can get some guys in and do physicals and maybe talk to them? And maybe Bill Belichick has in mind, a Cam Newton or a Jameis Winston. Otherwise, how does this make any sense? Right? Like otherwise, how could you get to the place where the Patriots are where, hey, before this whole circus got started, Brady did let them know, look, man, I'm not coming. And I think before this whole circus started, Bill Belichick had already decided, hey, man, I don't want him to come. How are we now at this point in free agency and the Patriots don't have a quarterback? Right? Like Teddy Bridgewater would not have been a bad idea. Something tells me you probably could have got Teddy Bridgewater to come up there to play for you rather than go play in Carolina in their rebuilding situation down there. They didn't call Teddy Bridgewater. So what's your game? What's your plan? Like I'm looking around right now or trying to think about this. And Gabe, you let me know if I'm tripping here. Who is at a place right now where we don't have a clear, I don't know if clear is the right way to put it, but where I can't point at them and be like, okay, I know what y'all are going to do at quarterback, or I got some kind of idea of what y'all are going to do at quarterback. So like I'm looking up and down the league at everybody. So Miami, I don't have like the greatest idea of what they're going to do at quarterback, right? But they got Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, if they decide to trot that out there, I get it. They got him. Or they might try to move up and draft a quarterback, or they might draft one. Like I got a path to where I see they might be doing something at quarterback. And as things stand right now, I look at literally every team in the league, and I feel pretty good that I got an idea of the path that they're trying to take at quarterback this year, except for the Patriots. They're the only one. Like if I'm missing somebody, you go ahead and let me know. Like some teams are engaging in what I don't necessarily think are the best ideas for what they're going to do at quarterback, but I know what it is. The only team I don't know what they thinking about is New England. It's the only one. And we all believe that Bill Belichick is a little bit smarter than everybody else, right? We all believe that. But, like, how can you outsmart quarterback? Like, I just don't see the angle at which just simply having Bill Belichick is going to be enough for you to get this done. How do you outsmart the quarterback position? I don't really see how they can. So maybe he's going, and look, we talked about this before. I love the idea of Bill Belichick deciding to be the Branch Rickey of New England and bringing in Cam Newton or Jameis Winston. I told you, I'll be listening to radio stations I hate every day just to see how they get down on it. And you let me know. You see a better quarterback out there now than Cam Newton? Assuming reasonable health, not even great. You see anybody? Because I don't. So here's where they are. That's where this stands. Meanwhile, we get to go watch Tom Brady be an old man in Tampa. History indicates that these things don't go well. We saw that good season from Brett Favre. Like, Brett Favre's thing was weird because Brett Favre left the Packers and we got bad season, good season, bad season. And it's funny because if Brett Favre would have retired after that season with the Jets, we would have talked about Brett Favre with the Jets the way that we talk about, like, Joe Namath with the Rams, you know, Johnny Unitas with the Chargers. That's how we would have talked about it if it happened, if he had ended after that '08 season. But instead, he went and got that one more year in Minnesota and made it happen in '09. And then in 2010, by the way, you know what he had? He had that season that we're talking about, but we never really discuss it because he had the one good season wrapped around the two bad ones. If Tom Brady comes out and has a good season this year, then maybe we're going to view this a little bit differently, right? But if Tom Brady comes out here struggling, and there will be no excuses if he comes out here struggling this year, got a great coach, got great weapons, you know, in a division that I don't know. If Brady is good, it's winnable. You know, like the Saints are good, but the Saints aren't like some untoppable dynasty or something like that. If it's good, you know, if Brady is good, they're in a winnable division. And it'll be the first time that Tom Brady's been in a legitimately compelling race to win a division since 2002. And I got no reason to root against him. I just don't really see this thing here ending well. I just do not, you know. And then Bob Kraft will just be up there. You know how sad it'll be if the Patriots aren't good next year and Tom Brady ain't good next year. How sad Bob Kraft going to be. Everybody losing. Nobody winning. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick, I already forgot Tom Brady's name. Oh, the guy that used to play here. Got it. Number 12. Got it. It's impossible for me to believe that there isn't a plan. It's just like, it's impossible for me to believe that Bill Belichick has not been ready for literally every single player on that roster to leave. Every single one. I'd also like to say something in fairness to Bill Belichick. They ain't got Randy Moss no more, and this guy isn't bad, but he wasn't good. They went 11-5 with Matt Castle, not expecting Matt Castle to be the quarterback. 11-5. Like, there's a chance they can work this out. They went, 3-0 with Jimmy Garoppolo. There's a chance they can figure this out. I just ain't got no idea how the hell they're going to do it. All right, we'll be back in a minute to talk about what's going on with the NBA, but first, 5-Hour Energy Shots are portable and effective at giving you the alert, energized feeling you need to get work done, even if you're working from home, because that couch can be a little too convenient. 5-Hour Energy Shots help you get through your day. With 0 sugar, 4 calories, and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for busy, hard-working people, even if you're working from home. It also comes in 2 great extra-strength tropical tastes, strawberry, banana, and tropical burst. They are delicious and can take you to a tropical get-stuff-done experience. Try them both. Then go online to shop5hourenergy.com and use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10% off your order. Try them both. Then go online to shop5hourenergy.com and use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10% off your order. Go to shop5hourenergy.com, use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10%. 5-Hour Energy, energy on the go. I was reading something in the Washington Post about the NBA a couple days ago. I think Ben Golliver wrote it. NBA looking at like $1 billion hit in revenue. $1 billion drop in revenue year over year based on everything that's going on, from the Daryl Morey situation all the way down to this thing here with the coronavirus. They're looking at over $1 billion hit in revenue. And I think that when it was when we were just looking at the Daryl Morey stuff and everything that happened after that, we were just looking at like a $400 million hit in revenue, which spread out to all those teams owned by billionaires is not such a bad thing. We were looking at like a $400 million hit. Now we're looking at like $1 billion hit to revenue. Just in case you wondering why it is that the NBA keeps saying that they're going to try to play one way or another, it's $1 billion hit in revenue. And let me tell you who going to want to play just as much as anybody else does. The players. You know why? They made a good point about this, that you got guys like Siakam and Ben Simmons who signed like those max contract extensions, but that is at 25% of the salary cap. The salary cap is going to fall by a not insignificant amount next year because of the revenue situation. So the cap is going to wind up falling with all of this happening. The luxury tax threshold then falls, which then makes it more prohibitively costly for teams to spend all that money. Teams that had their books set for next year were feeling good about where they were relative to what the numbers were going to become are now going to look at these drops, and now they're going to be looking at luxury tax bills. Whenever like the personnel market in the NBA gets back cracking, it is going to be bizarre to see what happens, just because so much of what is done is based on the revenue number. And we don't think about it because obviously the revenue isn't ours, but the revenue climbs and climbs, and therefore the salary cap climbs and climbs, and therefore teams make their projections of what they're going to be able to do and then do the things that they can in that moment based on that. Now the money is getting hit. So any team that was out here thinking like, yo, we're going to get out here and we're going to make this thing happen, are you? Are you? The teams that have like big money stars at the top and we're trying to figure out exactly how to fill out the rest of the roster the best they can through mid-level exceptions and stuff like that. What's that going to look like for you now that the cap has taken this giant hit? Like, what's it going to be? That's where the NBA is. So when Mark Cuban is like, yeah, I think we'll be out here by June 1, they got to get these games on television. Like, I give this to the NBA. LeBron, we talked that noise that one day about I ain't going to be playing no games without fans. The NBA is like, yes, we will. Don't you worry. The real money comes from television. And we need to get these games on TV. But once they decide they're going to get the games on TV, and Gabe, I ask you this, as long as this situation is anything close to what it is with the virus, how can it be safe for NBA basketball teams to play against each other?
Yeah, I mean, you basically have to verify that no single player or staff member has it and then keep them in quarantine.
Right.
Are they going to be like playing these games in a big tent?
Right. How can you be sure? Right. Like, I don't know what the state of affairs in the streets is going to have to be for us to be sure that you are able to keep the players safe. And in this case, we're talking in large part about being safe from each other. Like, that was the thing about Gobert. That Gobert, had people in from out of town that was staying at his house, had this fever of 100 degrees and wasn't, was still around people and things like that. That can be anybody, anybody for any sort of reason. That's what this can be. And so I don't know how it is that you can get to a place where you look at it and you just say to yourself like, yeah, nah, it's cool. We can get 12 guys out here at a time around each other. Maybe they are far too encouraged by the idea that, okay, so Rudy Gobert had it, Donovan Mitchell had it, and nobody else had it, right? The Nets, I think, had 4 players who had it, and I'm assuming they're all doing okay, and they got access to whatever they need, and everything else. And who knows, maybe the NBA has convinced itself that if some of its super healthy players get this, it's not going to shut them down. They're going to recover in whatever the time period is. Maybe that's the way they've done this. And again, I can't blame them for trying to get this money because everybody else's money comes from that money. I get it. But dog, we ain't getting no basketball this year. Like, you don't have to lie to me about it. I get why you might need to lie to somebody else. But Mark Cuban, don't you worry. You ain't got to lie to me about it. I know we ain't going to get no basketball. That's fine. I have made peace with the reality that basketball is not coming around for us to watch. It happens. I get it. We gonna make it work. Now that I do miss. I will admit that like the NBA playoffs, that I'm gonna miss. Like these things that just pop up for a couple days at a time or whatever, no big deal. The NBA playoffs, like this is 2 months out of my life. So much of what I do is scheduled around this. Boy, that's going to be a little bit sad.
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. No need for the social media feeds. We got you. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, Bo, this first story comes from Tech.
This is Brett Molina with USA Today. YouTube said it's going to reduce the streaming quality of videos for its users in Europe. The reason for doing this started with a commissioner for the European Union expressing concerns about how well the internet will handle this large influx of people working from home as part of plans to curb the spread of the coronavirus. YouTube said it's going to temporarily default any videos streamed in Europe to standard definition to ease any possible strain. Prior to this, Netflix said it would reduce the data on its streams in Europe for 30 days. It's not clear yet whether this will happen in the US, but YouTube's parent company Google says it's working with governments and network operators to make sure everyone has a good experience without causing any disruptions.
You can bet your keister that it's going to happen in the U.S. Look, man, we got a whole lot of systems that were not built for everybody to be sitting around not doing a damn thing. A whole lot of them. And you know what some of them systems are that you ain't thinking about? Like elevators. Gay, the elevator in my building has turned into a roller coaster. I mean, I got this one where you get in and that thing starts going down real fast and then it'll pause and then it'll like take a breath and then get itself cracking and then go down again. And I'm just like, I guess it's just not accustomed to the use that we having to give it since we all in the building all the time. And you're probably thinking, well, if you're in the building all the time, then you're not using the elevator, except it used to be that if you had delivery or whatever, they could bring it up to you. Can't do that no more, right? They try to minimize the number of people that walk in this bad boy. So that's not an option anymore. You got to go downstairs and get it your damn self. And I think everybody's go get it your damn self. It's putting a little bit of stress on the system. But what's going to happen with the internet that I find to be interesting is that we think of the internet as being the one resource that isn't scarce. Right? Like everybody can get on the internet. The internet is an inexhaustible thing when in reality, bandwidth is all kinds of stuff that goes on to make sure everybody gets this, that, you know, if you follow the net neutrality stuff, you understand this a little better. But I don't think that most people do that. And so I think that people just look at the internet as an inexhaustible resource, except when everybody's on it and pulling down like high data files like movies. Now all of a sudden, we're talking about something else. Now we have to share the internet. And people are so conditioned when they don't have anything to do to just go to this vast repository of content and go find something. Well, boy, people are going to get mad when the videos start looking grainy.
Has your ability to stream been affected speed-wise in your building during COVID?
I don't know. You know, I don't really engage so much in that. I'm trying to think of what I have watched on stream since this whole thing shook out. And honestly, only thing I've watched on stream is the ZZ Top documentary on Netflix. Otherwise, I haven't really noticed. Yeah, I've been swearing I got all this reading I'm going to do. I got me an electronic tuner so I can get back on learning some guitar chords. I ordered that off the Amazon. I ordered that Jump Pro. Man, I'm ordering all kinds of shit I ain't going to use. I don't know what I'm doing other than being on the internet.
All right, this next story comes from music.
Hello, my name is Sandra Garcia, and I'm a reporter with the New York Times. I wrote about DJ D-Nice's Instagram live party that he has been holding since Wednesday. Every day, around 2 p.m. Pacific Time and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, DJ D-Nice gets on his turntables and starts playing classic hip-hop and R&B alongside other music. On Saturday, he had a record-breaking 100,000 people on his Instagram Live, including Oprah, Mark Zuckerberg, J-Lo, Drake, Kelly Rowland, Naomi Campbell, and Joe Biden, Stacey Abrams, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. When I spoke to DJ D-Nice, he told me that he missed the energy he got from the crowd while DJing. He had to cancel several gigs because of the coronavirus, and he himself was being quarantined in Los Angeles. He decided to just play music on his live, no matter who was tuning in, but everyone tuned in. He played for 9 hours straight on Saturday, and then he did it again on Sunday and Monday. DJ D-Nice used to be in a hip-hop group called Boogie Down Productions with KRS-One and DJ Scott LaRock. He's been in the music industry since he was 16 years old, so music is something that he needs in his everyday. But something that people need in their everyday is social interaction. According to a neuropsychologist, humans need social interaction, and surviving a crisis does not take that away from them. The need to be able to go to a party and say hey and talk to each other is a very human need, and the coronavirus hasn't taken that away from anyone.
Yeah, so the part that I found interesting was how easily people were able to take themselves to, it's like I'm at a party. I can't do that. Right? Like he's DJing and it's cool or whatever, but I didn't feel like I was at a party. I felt like he was like party DJing and it was jamming. The one thing about it is he was there all night and people were there for all that time, but it's kind of like I hear people who complain at times and they talk about ESPN. They be like, y'all be talking about the same thing all day. And I'm like, why are you watching all day? Like, this ain't for you, person who's watching all day. Like, yeah, if you know that we watching all day, thanks for your business. But that's not really how this game works. It's not about you. And that was kind of the thing with him because he was doing so much spinning based upon who came in the room. And so by the fifth time Mary J. Blige comes in the room and he plays You Bring Me Joy, it's like, okay, here come Mary J. Blige again. I was in there with DJ D Nice like, can somebody go get Big Boy, tell him to come in the room so we can play some Outkast? Like, I would appreciate that greatly. I needed some more of my favorite artists to show up in the room to get a mix that I liked a little bit more. He was killing it though, right? Like, he's not like a super great technical DJ. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the guy that you go up for scratches and things like that. And like the depth or the full on breadth of what he was playing. Like, he was really playing a lot of stuff that cats of his age who are from the East Coast are going to be into, which again, not a problem. I'm just like classifying what it is. But it was wild to just see how that became the thing to do. That became the place to be. But once Joe Biden showed up, I'm actually amazed that anybody else kept coming. Because I don't know about y'all, but in my life, when you got something that's cool and you got something that's cracking and the equivalent of Joe Biden shows up, it becomes lame the second he walks in the door.
I was really wondering like how people like Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders were even finding out about this.
Oh, their staffs.
Yeah,
right?
But like, what is the message that they're trying to send? That like these older white politicians understand like the young, predominantly like black community? Is that what they're trying to say? And that they're connected and you should vote for them?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. This is what I would guess on that front, because I would hope that they were not trying to like imply some real deep connection to something like you talk about, right? Like, I'd hope they'd be better than that. But my mother was a business school dean for most of the last 30 years. And she taught at historically black colleges. And, there's just a general shortage of black PhDs in the United States. So if you're going to have a faculty at an HBCU in a lot of departments, the faculty is going to largely be people from other countries. So I remember like growing up, there's a lot of cats from Bangladesh, Pakistan, just got all over the place, India. And I remember one dude we were real close with was Malaysian. And one thing about my mom is that she always got along very, very well with them. And not just on some I get along, but they really, really liked her and appreciated her. And one big reason why they did is that my mother will eat literally anything. You put it on a plate, you say it's to be eaten. My mother will eat it. She's just one of those people that'll do that. Like, we got a legendary story in our family about when we lived in Nigeria for a year and they brought out some cow hoof soup. It was a soup with a cow hoof in the middle. And my mama ate that cow hoof soup, but she didn't eat the hoof. And they were very offended that she did not eat the hoof. And she thought that she was doing her part by eating the brine that surrounded the hoof. I say all that to say, if you put a cow hoof in a bowl, my mama will eat the soup, right? Like, this is who she is. But for a lot of them, like, this is something we knew when we figured out quickly. That was like a cultural exchange. And her willingness to experience their culture through food was a demonstration to them of her respect for them, like, as people, And I think that for a lot of those politicians, what they're showing is, hey, we see that this is something that's cool and important that's going on with you. And we just want to let you know that we're here and we are glad that this cool, important thing is happening to you. And we just kind of like pop in here, right? Again, I still contend that once Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders decide they showing up to the party, it's time to leave. Because damn well it's not either one of them. Damn well Bernie Sanders went out there like, somebody send me to the DJ D Nice party so I can get my groove on. Joe Biden wasn't sitting at the crib. What Joe Biden been doing? Anyway, he wasn't just sitting there being like, yo, I want to go hear some blazing hip hop and R&B, and then go show up in the room. Now, Elizabeth Warren, I could totally see Elizabeth Warren hearing about this party, walking into this party, and dancing at this party.
And the thing about it is, too, with these guys is like, they're old. A, they're not going to be at these parties anyways, but B, it's going to be too late. So this is kind of like a matinee type experience for them.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of fake, a lot of fronting. A lot of fronting. That was definitely going on in the way that the parties went. But it was real cool. Like 2 nights ago, I watched D Nice was on, and I had checked him out the night before, so I was kind of hearing some repeats and no big deal. Then I went and checked out Primo, and Primo was kind of like, Primo's more my vibe, right? More where I am at. I ain't talking about me here necessarily, but I heard Primo spit it. I was like, Primo DJ for cats that's too high to dance, right? Like Primo is for you and your partners to like lounge up against the wall with your hoods up and a lot of head nodding, maybe rapping to yourself, and y'all talk about whatever else it is that y'all want to talk about while y'all at the spot, right? Like that's kind of where he was going for, a lot of grimy, like late 80s, early 90s hip hop. Just loved it, right? He was coming down on that one. My man DJ Wally Sparks, who you need to check out at DJ Wally Sparks on the tweets and on the Instagram. Wally is from Chattanooga. Wally's about my age, and so Wally takes you on a bit of a different tour of the musical experience in the ways that he gets down. It's a lot, like Primo, obviously he's hitting with all the chops and stuff like that. D Nice, that ain't really his game plan. But Wally was hitting you with that, so you go in, you hear Wally play a fly and all of that stuff, right? Like, it's been real cool to see dudes like out here doing this, and I think it is entertaining a lot of people. And what I'm going to ask all y'all on this, I said it on Twitter, I'm going to say it again. If you out here like jamming hours and hours of these folks, throw them a little money, man. Like, and if you ain't got it, I understand that part. But these are cats that's trying to stay alive. Ain't no party for no DJ to throw, right? Throw some bread.
Hey, this is Bomani. You have reached the right time voicemail. Say whatever you want. Get creative with it. But this is your place to talk back to the show. So talk back. Peace.
All right, Bo, you want to tell people about the Clyde Drexler situation you got going on?
Yeah, man. So, like, when this whole thing got to cracking, I was, like, a little too lazy to shave my head. Like, I've just now gotten to the point. Like, hey, you took a shower yet?
This morning?
Yeah.
I was doing show prep. I didn't have time to take a shower.
Today's the first day that I took a shower before 9 o'clock. Like, I gradually worked my way up to before noon on Sunday and then before 11 yesterday. And I got up this morning and took a shower. And I don't know if I feel better because I took a shower or I took a shower because I feel better. You know what I mean? But anyway, it just got kind of slow. Like, I was just kind of into, I've had to change a lot of my habits up or like unchange the changes that I've made to just kind of like keep things going. But anyway, I have not shaved my head now in like 2 weeks. I have never gone this long without shaving my head since I was in the head shaving era of my life. And I just kind of wanted to know what it was going to look like. And I looked up and it looked like Clyde Drexler 1991 right now, because I just started shaving my head when I moved to Miami. And I'd never really seen like what would happen if I just kept trying to let my hair grow, what the situation would be. And maybe one day before I cut it off, I will let you see what it is. Like right now, I feel like I'm in the in-between dreadlock stage. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really trying to do that. But anyway, that's where I am. But it also got me to thinking that since the barbershops are closing down, y'all about to be out here living like me in a lot of ways. And that means that some of you are going to try to cut your own hair or try to cut your children's hair. And honestly, I kind of don't blame you because I don't know what else it is you're supposed to do, right? So you're going to be out here trying to cut your own hair. And that means you're going to get some bad haircuts. And I wanted to hear some stories about your bad haircuts.
All right. Our first, the guy didn't leave his name or where he was from.
Of course not.
But this one was pretty good.
Yo, I remember the worst haircut I ever got was from my barber. His shop was starting to get in a little bit of financial trouble. Barbers were leaving, no customers were coming in. So he decided to revamp the place, try to make it almost like a spa-like treatment. But it's the same old hood dudes working in there. So, I come in there because I'm a loyal customer, sit down. He said, I'm going to give you something a little bit different today. I said, nah, man, I don't need that. I just want my regular cut. He said, nah, just sit back and relax. You know, he sits back, so he lays me back in the chair, puts the hot towel on my face. All of a sudden, my man put some sort of gel on my hands and start massaging my hands. I hopped up and said, nah, bruh, we ain't gonna do all that. Needless to say, I ain't been back to that barbershop.
Oh, so he didn't even want to talk about a bad haircut.
No, just the bad haircut experience, which didn't turn out to be a haircut.
I have to say this, though. If you started with just your regular barbershop experience and on the drop of a dime, it turned into now you rubbing my hands, I can see how that would be a bit of a jolt. That was not what he was in the market for. This dude got calluses on his hands trying to give you some relaxation.
Not exactly the delicate touch you're looking for if you're trying to do a mani-pedi.
That wasn't what I thought was coming. I didn't know. I want to know how long that concept lasted at that barbershop, by the way.
Whether or not they're still like that. And maybe they've just kind of grown more comfortable with their new offerings.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this next one comes from Mike in Phoenix.
Let me tell you about the worst haircut I ever had. So I go down to this barbershop that I've been going to for about 10 years, but the man I usually see ain't there that day. So I go with this other dude, right? I tell him exactly what I want. Nice little drop fade, nothing big. And he completely messes up my lineup. He's got my lineup way too high, and I'm heated. He's got the audacity to look at me and be like, I really hooked you up, didn't I? So I paid him, I left. No problem. Hair grows back. I'm in the same barbershop about 3 weeks later, and he comes up to me. He's like, hey, you want me to cut you again? I said, nope. Meanwhile, I see him giving someone else a haircut, and he messes this dude's lineup real bad. Dude stands up, squares up to fight him. And I just got my stuff in bed.
See, I've never been like obsessive about my haircut in the ways that other people have. And especially like as I got older, started doing media stuff, it became tricky because it mattered more. But like, I just didn't have that much time. You know, like I just needed to go. And so I just kind of get a haircut wherever it rolls. But I never really got like no bad haircuts. I remember one time, this was, I think, the summer before my freshman year, and I was in a summer program at Clark, Atlanta, where I ultimately went to school. And so I'm there, and this dude come in, and I talked to him a few times, right? Knew the dude. And he sits down, and he got this cap on. He was like a preppy type dude, right? So this is like one of them. It wasn't a snapback. It's the one, yeah, we're like, it adjusts in the back, but it's like on a, not a string, but you know what I mean? Like the joint you pull. Like it was one of those caps. And that's how you
I got you.
Okay. And so he's sitting in there and we asked him what was up because he looked like he had some things on his mind. And we were like, yo, what's up, man? And he's like, man, I think I got a bad haircut. I'm like, oh, you know, I don't really know what to do at this point. And it's me and my man Kane. And so Buddy takes the cap off. And boy, self-awareness is a gift. It was an awful haircut. I mean, it was dreadful. And I'm like, damn. And he asked, so what you think? And I'm trying to figure out what to say. And then next thing you know, my homeboy is like, looks good. And I mean, all right. Well, he said it first, right? And so I just kind of let it ride. And later I was like, dawg, why you tell him that? He was like, I mean, it's not like I could make it better. Good point.
Yeah, you have to have a serious amount of trust in your friends to be able to warn you when something's like too bad to actually walk out in public.
Yeah. Like you needed a friend to see you and be like, yo, man, I'll go with you. What you mean? You want to go back? Like you ain't pay for that, right? I'll go with you. I got you back.
And a lot of these stories were people going to bad barbershops, but there was a story about somebody who did it to themselves, and it comes from our man, Florida James.
What's happening, Bo? I wanted to share with you my haircut story of my worst haircut, rather, and that it didn't come from a barber, it didn't come from my mom, and it didn't come from a cousin, because it came from myself. About a decade ago, when I was a freshman in college, I wanted to cut my hair and save a few bucks when I could, so I figured to give it a shot, thinking to myself, like, how hard could this be, right? Next thing you know, try to start off on the front, And it immediately got hard. And it got hard enough, quickly enough, where I was just like, you know what, I'm just not going to be able to get this done the way I wanted to. So I shaved my whole head. But this was before I grew my beard. This was before my beard even connected. This was before my mustache was in full and my goatee was in and out depending on the day that it was. So I'm walking around South Florida in this hot hoodie in the middle of spring. People ask me why I got this hoodie on. Why am I looking incognito, going in rooms quick, ducking out whenever it is that I could for about a week and a half until my hair grew back. Better at it now, but it's because you don't have to be too intricate to give yourself a bald head. But whenever it is that I have my own kid, I'm gonna let them know, you know, you ain't got to fight every battle.
Hey man, let me tell you something, because I think a lot of people get themselves in that situation, right? You ask yourself about cutting hair, how hard can it be? Hard enough that people go to school to learn. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
When people are fortunate enough to have a barber that's a good friend and you can go and get your hair cut at their house, you're really fortunate, because most of the time people who take it up and think that anyone can do it, they're not quite that skilled, especially parents.
Yeah. Nah. My daddy, he said, man, after the childhood of getting his hair cut by his dad, and keep in mind that was during an era of far more primitive clipper technology. He was like, one thing he was never going to do, no matter how much it costs, he wasn't going to cut his kids' hair.
Oh, man. I have one more bonus one, and it comes from PJ in Savannah.
Bo, so I'm about 18 years old. You graduated high school. Asked the barber for a haircut, and I said, make me bald. But when you say that, Bo, you really mean, you know, give me a low cut. Nope. He made me bald. So the whole summer, bald. It did help out when I was working out outside, though. So the sweat just slid down my head in the shower. Water just slid down my head. But, the folks in church, they had a ball. They had a ball. And thank goodness when I started my new job at Kroger over the summer, nobody knew me for the first 2-3 weeks.
All right. So, number one, how are you bald all summer? And number two, what is the shape of your head that this was such an indignity for so long in so many places?
That he wanted to keep it while he was on the first couple of weeks of the job so that nobody would recognize him. If you plan on keeping that job at Kroger, like, people are going to recognize you at some point.
Yeah, it's a lot of, not everything for me to understand, but you know, that's life. Hey, I'm here for your bad haircut stories. I appreciate that. I didn't get a bad haircut one time. I voluntarily got a mohawk in 1988, and that was one of the worst decisions I've ever made. May have been 1989. Either way it goes, I thought it would be cool. I was wrong. I didn't want to go nowhere, but I was too proud to just get it cut off. Right? So I just had to wait for it to grow back, man. That's how it goes. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this thing a couple times a week. My man Gabe Bassane handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, thank you to our sponsors. Thanks to My Computer Career. Thanks to NetSuite. And thanks to 5 Hour Energy. Thanks to our, if you haven't heard, contributors. Thanks to Brett Molina of USA Today. Check out his story on the concern for the lack of internet bandwidth in the midst of the corona at usatoday.com. Thanks to Sandra Garcia of the New York Times. Check out her story on DJ D-Nice's Instagram DJ sets at NewYorkTimes.com. Remember, subscribe to The Right Time. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to think you are a hater, and we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.
Thanks for checking out The Right Time with Bomani Jones podcast.
You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Right Time
with Bomani Jones.